Same, wait, what do you call those animals? Animals that just chill in hot springs? What do you call them, chupacabra? How this became like the most disrespected animal. It's a kawaka. Yes, it's a kawaka. Is that how you pronounce it? Kawaka? No. Anyways, it's an exaggerated rodent. The disrespected animal of 2026. No matter what we do, I believe, Cash Geo is like one of the most hardworking YouTubers out there. Because I believe, he has like an actual love for these animals. That's why he's so hardworking, or one of the reasons why I believe he's one of the best animal YouTubers out there.
Just some BS with fur. Default mammal. Bro is just a temple thing. Oh, I'm
Has he done anything about wait, what do you call chupacabra? No. Same, wait, what do you call those animals? Animals that just chill in hot springs? What do you call them, chupacabra? Capybaras! No, not yet. In comments, please.
sorry. Just a random effing thing. Login reward. This might be the worst one.
Login
reward. The internet decided to have a cultural
reward.
campfire, but instead of roasting marshmallows, Nature's Untitled Project got flamed with every way to say they're easy to draw. Straight bullying a beta test. You got folks saying we never officially discovered this mammal until someone went into a pet store and asked for an animal. John Mammal, they're calling him. They're slandering the life out of my guy. I gotta say something. Especially with his big homie on my chest. This potato vampire is a Hyrax, and they did not evolve for 50 million years just to get called a funny template. Bro is literally in the Bible. Especially when the imitation bunny's closest relatives are elephants, which everyone loves, and manatees, which laws had to stop people from loving. The same animal folks are calling the first interaction in a tutorial is cousins with the most iconic animal on Earth. But it's not like there aren't signs. Hyraxes have the same tusks for fighting and female validation, although the bar for impressive is lower than their balls are. Because having an internal coin purse is another thing they have in common. To be fair, Hyraxes have a lot in common with a lot
Didn't need to know that.
of animals. Let's count
Now we do. Thank you, Casual Geo.
them out. If conversion eats two roads, that boy's a roundabout. Done stole so many animals' flow. If this were a Pokemon, he'd be Plagiario. They took the elephant's tusk and toes. They have a jaw you'd expect on a rhinoceros. A Pika plus build with Marmot for measure. But only one reps the road.
Hyrax, Marmot. Like, go wake up. I mean, isn't that what we're looking at?
And varsity sweater. It's a miscellaneous mammal nature uploaded at the last moment. They're such trash thermoregulators, they're more reptile than rodent. As a partially cold-blooded concept, most of the Hyrax's energy comes from charging in the sun, giving it the same pastime as the Viscacha. But they're less efficient than the Sensei. Where Viscachas may spend a quarter of their time sunbathing, this sentient 1159 project submission has about 5% of its life when it's not just sitting idly. Hyraxes inherited the koala problem, but at least koalas have the excuse of poor diet. Nature greenlit the mammal version of battery sold separately. They didn't ask for any of this, yet the internet has been cooking them like they come with XP. When obviously this organism dies and offers 0. Which isn't just outrageous slander for an animal name dropped in the holy book, and whose poop has been used in perfumes. It just shows you how fast the internet will turn on you. Seems like just yesterday people were hyping up the Hyrax, making them viral every time they made a sound. Just to today act like they haven't been around. There's so much more that meets the eye, with the organism of all time. Like the fact this template has 6 different types. You got the rock Hyrax, the most common and iconic of the Raxes. Although being the most iconic of an animal called a placeholder is like winning prom queen of a homeschool. Just know that if you see a Duzzy on your feed, it's probably a rock Hyrax. And these Rockies have enough clout to be the VIP member of the Brocavia Hyrax genus.
Alright.
But only because they're the only living member of it. There's 3 Hyrax genuses, and Hetero Hyrax is home to the Bush Hyrax. You're forgiven if you can't tell them apart. Nature's Xerox to Xerox, it's not your fault. The Bush Rax looks like it tried to implement the same mask method to farm empathy, but like everything else, it was a poor imitation. They're smaller than rock Hyraxes, but again, no hard feelings if you can't differentiate. The chances I mixed up the pictures in this section are lower than the chances someone's gonna care enough to notice. But the Bush Rax's defining trait is that their distress stim basically defined the entire species.
No.
I said, look at me. You're becoming famous on the internet because of me, so try and show a little appreciation.
Yeah, that's
I remember it now. So that's where it came from. Wow, wow, wow. That sound.
Tiawawa, and he's telling you to make like Michael Jackson and beat it. And the third genus is Dendrohyrax, which actually has 4 species, the southern, eastern, western, and the Benin tree Hyrax. Same ideas, different font. The western looks like he's seen some shit, and chances are it was his reflection. It's the only Hyrax that looks like it has to be held back, because he decided he'd rather look like a boar than be one. The eastern tree Hyrax looks like the shiny Pokemon of the bunch, and they're a regular part of the diets of leopards, eagles, and pythons. They're just the part that says etc. The southern tree hyrax is interesting in that it'll rapidly bounce on the ground to travel when excited, which is what you're looking at right now, so long as someone cared enough to record it. Now they say their status is of least concern, but I'd say their blood-curdling night screams are mildly concerning.
Oh my god, that
Speaking
is
of scream,
terrifying!
the last member is the Benin tree hyrax, and I say that because they were discovered in 2020.
I remember we were like on the side of a mountain once, and there was this blood-curdling scream, and I lost like all aura. But the thing is, it was just people like messing around. No one was getting murdered. No one was getting assaulted. People were just like messing around. But the thing is, the way that blood curdling scream came in. Anyways.
And it was because of their scream. You see, scientists who weren't even checking for them, they were looking for bush babies. That's a bush baby. But heard enough of this weird barking sound that they eventually isolated and studied it. And these sounds were so distinctive, they realized it came from an entirely different species. Mind you, they clocked these calls back in 2009, but the Benin wasn't identified until over a decade later.
Oh.
Imagine screaming for attention for years only to be discovered by accident by people looking for someone else. And apparently, Benin
like
skulls were already in scientists' possession, but they never noticed because, in their words, they just assumed they were all the same. Best believe hyraxes wouldn't be getting this level of disrespect back in the day, because Titano-Hyrax Ultimus would have been big enough to mog a rhino. But Hyrax Ultimus Prime died out and left us with a miscellaneous tater tot. And miscellaneous is the best way to describe the family. Hyraxes are part of the Afroteria reunion, and you couldn't pick out a more random assortment of characters on the 3 a.m. gas station line. You obviously have the Hyrax and the elephant, along with a group certain people confuse for mermaids, the manatee and dugong, or just the sea cows. But you also have my 4th grade fixation, the aardvark, the elephant shrew, which is actually more elephant than shrew, in fact not even a true shrew, the golden mole, which isn't a true mole, in fact underground and undercover makes it more of a mole, the otter shrew, which is nary a true shrew, but what else is new, and the tenric, which is a hedgehog nature tried redrawing from memory. Now the non-evolution folk might have an argument, because how do you explain this sober?
How do you?
Well, I'ma try. You see, 2 things happened. One was the dinosaur stranglehold on the world was released when a mountain-sized meteoric plot device blew their shit smooth off the census. In Space Jam terms, the Monstars took a crowbar to the knee and hedge trimmers to the Achilles, allowing the smaller mammalian Looney Tunes to really get on the board. But the other domino fell long before, with Africa separating from the supercontinent of Gondwana, completely isolated until she eventually crashed into Eurasia. I'm not 100% on the dates, but that's still tens of millions of years Africa spent as a massive island, and with an even bigger dinosaur-sized niche left behind, the mammals on it got to work. Think of Australia. You got a max security prison deer, an actual sloth bear, hijos de satanas, and many, many more.
Hijos de satanas? So literally son of Satan? Interesting. Or, Satan's son, whatever you may call it, depending on the context. But, the point is, it's bad if you have Satan following your name.
And they're all marsupials. Because marsupials were all the Australian...
My bad, they're not rodents. They're marsupials.
...island had, and those niches were going to be filled somehow. But my favorite example is the fact that Madagascar had no apex big cat predator. So a steroid mongoose took the spot.
Steroid mongoose?
You saw with Marsupial Mafia and the Afro Order was adaptive radiation.
I honestly wasn't prepared for that one.
Where a single common ancestor diversified to occupy all the sudden vacancies, and Afroteria diversified into straight nonsense. Basically, it was the ganglet split up of evolution. You can only imagine the reaction the Hyrax got at the reunion. I'm sure Titano-Hyrax tried their best at the big man's game, but getting outcompeted by those that played the big boy build better had the remaining Hyraxes living in the woodworks like rodents. But you'd expect an imitation rat to belong with the not a shrew, not a mole, and nature's left-handed hedgehog in clade Afro-insectophilia. But nah, the Hyrax got cast in a penungulata portion.
Penungulata portion.
Basically almost ungulates. Ungulates are the many animals that walk on hooves. Yes, that's a whale. The hippo must have gave him a guest pass. Having almost hooves means elephants and sea cows have toenails. So does the Hyrax. Not a hoof, but close. They also have the same tusks that were just pimped out incisors. But Hyraxes chew like they were raised by ruminants, chewing from side to side.
Alright, so those are tusks. They're not, canines or fangs. Alright, good to know.
To grind it out like a giraffe. You might not have noticed because Hyraxes do it so fast. And when's the last time you looked a Hyrax in the mouth? Because you might have noticed they look like they have tiny rhino skulls augmented into their heads. So you see, the animal Twitter called just a random thing is actually the peak form for the life they live, from the sides to the teeth to the toes. Speaking of toes, down boy,
The window,
those beans have a
the
purpose. And
wall,
rubbery soles with a concave
the
surface
sweat drip down. Wait, what?
creates a suction cup that's a cheat code for gripping rocks. It's how Raxes can go goat and climb vertical surfaces. It's also how Hyraxes literally climb into our lives. Hyraxes have the habit of hitching rides where nature had not intended. In addition to being capybara copyright infringement, it should be no surprise to see the animal someone called the Nepo hire of its family being hard carried by something else. But they've also started scoring free rides on something slightly faster than a tortoise. There's a genuine trend of South Africans finding their cars colonized by desis. Apparently the underside of a car is like a wet dream to a crevice merchant, and people have accidentally Ubered this stowaway across South Africa. And like clockwork, they often don't get noticed until they start screaming, or the smell of their excess alerts you. One Hyrax spent 4 days as an undercarriage carry-on after joining a family's 2.5-hour trip from Cedarburg to Worcester. Another family came home from vacation to find 4 of them splunking in their car engine. And you can't just evict them when you find them, because desis are highly territorial, and getting spawned on enemy grounds will get them murked by the residents. According to the Cape of Good Hope SPCA, if you find a Hyrax up your chassis, you do not attempt to remove, or else they might show you what that tusk did. Best thing you can do is bait them
So they're not that friendly and you need like what, professional help to evict them?
out with like peanut butter or something and then trap them and wait for your local SPCA to come handle it. But even then, you probably don't want to take matters in your own hands. Not only because you have no way of knowing when or where the Hyrax hopped on, there's a non-zero chance he doesn't just abandon your car and immediately head for the next one over, just transferring the problem to someone else. Truly the best way to help a Hyrax is to check your car for them before you head out. It's not much.
So the same reason that, you know, during the winter that you have to tap your engine before and after you start it, because you know, some animals might hide on your chassis because of the warmth, you know, when you get home at night or something. So yeah, tap your engine. I guess if you live in that particular area, tap your engine first or something.
Different from checking for stray cats under the hood during the cold times,
There we
which
go.
if you're on the East Coast is right now.
Now,
Pray for me, I am so sick right now. So I wouldn't blame you for thinking Hyraxes spawn into our lives out of nowhere.
okay,
But it's not always by accident. I swear I liked one video. One. And
one.
now I get videos of this hamster homunculi in people's houses. I had no idea they were so common as pets. Or legal. Legality aside, Hyraxes are about as good of pets as you'd expect from a travel-sized rhodacious elephant.
Are they?
Which is not at all. They're highly social and territorial. They'll hate your house and you'll hate what they do to it. Especially with their bathroom habits, which I'm
Social and territorial at the same time. Alright.
gonna get into. Just know you will not get that smell out. But humans weren't even the first primates to try to turn a Hyrax to a house pet. You remember the Hyrax jump scare that is the Western variety? Well, there's someone that thinks this weremole is cute. Chimpanzees have shown a strangely genuine curiosity in this hunk of fur. In 1995, researchers came across a group of chimps surrounding a Hyrax that had fallen out of a tree. And other than one male slapping the ground as a display and another one poking it with a stick, they just watched it until they eventually lost interest and just left them alone. To be fair, less than 5% of a chimp's diet is meat, but I've seen chimps do raccoons dirty for existing. They also hunt bush baby, but somehow a Hyrax gets a pass. In 2016, scientists clocked a male chimp with a past tense Hyrax, and I swear from the way they describe it, he was treating it like a doll, seemingly grooming it, even blowing on its hair, and no, he didn't even eat it in the end. But the weirdest case might have been in 2000, when a female chimp adopted one for a day. She carried it around, groomed it, and even spent the night in her nest with it, and spent a total of 15 hours cradling it. And while the Hyrax was already dead, it wasn't by her effort. I know I'm not supposed to anthropomorphize, but again, I've seen these same apes do Diagers grizzly. So you're gonna have to convince me Caesar and them don't find him cute. But again, you wouldn't really want a Hyrax as a pet. One, because their social structures are way too complex. I was not kidding when I said leaving a stowaway on foreign turf is like putting a prison green light on them. In a Wawa of up to 80 Hyraxes, the highest Rax is a territorial Himrax that lays over the females, they're young, and any younger males not yet seen as a threat.
Like,
and it's
that's how
usually
what
this
you
top
call
male
a
that's
group of
responsible for
Hyraxes,
sentry
Wawas.
duty, basically acting as a lifeguard while the others feed and blaring out an alarm call if he sees a threat like an eagle, which gets all the Hyraxes to hightail it. Not only is it uber effective against predators, it's the same way meerkats manner. But when you look like a hodgepodge of other animals' homework, you get no show on how Hyraxes happen. I'd watch it because the drama would go crazy. Those tusks are for more than just attracting mates. You wouldn't know it, but these Hyraxes are fighting for their lives, and those teeths can tear each other apart and more than barely inconvenience you. Running fades is such a risk that Hyraxes have ways to avoid conflict. The main one is by breaking into song. I'm not even kidding. The same way gorillas beat their chest to advertise size and avoid fights, male hyraxes do by singing, and studies have proven that they'll increase their audible output when there's more stranger neighbor raxes around, which sometimes the strangers respond to. It's their version of a
How do we know? How do we know it's not like a rap battle? Like they're dissing each other or something.
diss track, and they take the craft seriously, because it's also been
It's
proven
a
that
diss track,
hyraxes that
literally.
sing the most and maintain the best rhythm go on to father the most successful offspring. I love the internet because there's no other way I'd know this, but it's why male hyraxes sing all year around, and unlike most other animals, they sing as a solo. But they also sing unlike almost any other mammal. Hyraxes sing with syntax, and in casual terms, it means the sounds they sing and the order they sing them in aren't random. They're actually specifically structured, with each note purposely sequenced like lyrics.
So they're not like that meme, like when your Khajiit finally gets gets its voice in Skyrim, like meow, meow, like in the mountain or something.
That's something you normally see with birds, and other than whales, bats, and some primates, the hyrax is the only mammal found to do this, which means it's not a stretch to say they have way more complex a language than anyone ever gave them credit for.
Interesting.
Especially since hyrax hymns can go on for minutes, and songs even have specific regional dialects. Just an effing thing. I think not. Especially
Regional
since they have a
dialects?
social network we've never seen in another animal, but in humans. Studies show that hyraxes subscribe to the friend of my friend is my friend rule, and they'll spread these social ties in a way that creates overall social balance. Not only do hyraxes live
if
in
you
like
guys remember from Donnie Brasco, they have the same system, friend of mine, friend of ours.
egalitarians,
Like, to basically signal to another gang member or, to another mafioso or a made guy that this is a friend of mine means he's a connected guy. This is a friend of ours means he's a made guy. That's interesting.
live longer and better. It's actually the hyrax that was the first non-human animal to be seen with this kind of social structural balance. Yeah, the Owawa did that. Like they'll use the friend of a friend concept to create calculated trios, and it's proven that hyrax groups that do this on a large scale are way more chill and see way less aggression.
Yeah, I mean,
it's also why I said airdropping one into
better.
a new hood is assisted census subtraction, because newcomers immediately invite instability. Although complex social order makes a lot of sense, because hyraxes have a lot going for them. Keeping themselves warm enough to stay alive ain't one of them. Nature kind of screwed them there, so they spend 95% of their time either resting or fasting. They're damn near solar powered. They'll also use the Tetris method to stay warm, and when you need cuddle time to survive, it's best to know who your friends are. So yeah, there's a lot more to the hyrax than being the elephant's understudy. They got their fingerprints in history. Well, not their fingers. Animals dragging ass sets on the ground is nothing new, but recently, the first known fossil of one butt scooting was uncovered from over 120,000 years ago, and that autograph belonged to, their butts tell us a lot more about the past, and it is because of their bathroom habits. See, I told you we were going to get to that, just had to learn something first. Hyraxes all produce in the same place, in these latrines called middens, and while it's another reason why you wouldn't want one in your house, they've actually graffitied entire cliffs with their calcium carbonate pee, because they pee in one spot and they pee a whole lot. But generations of dropping deuces in the same spot means middens are stockpiled with hyracium, their dried excess. And this hyracium is like the less aesthetic version of amber. But the substance with erase in its name does the exact opposite to history. Studying the poop piles can tell you a lot about the past by preserving time in a way built to last, with some of these middens going back 70,000 years. Hyraxes craft time capsules and fix your face, because that's not the only use we get out of them. Because yeah, hyrax poop has been traditionally used as perfume. It's not super common today, but I'd love for someone to comment and tell me what it smells like. That same hyracium has also been used in traditional medicines to treat issues like epilepsy. Are you now seeing how lousy the internet is doing this animal? They are so much more than a filler character on Noah's Ark. You don't even have to care about them, but if you care about the Arabian leopard, one of the closest to being discontinued cats, then you should probably know that a big part of their diet is the rax. I feel bad for them. Being this weird of an animal just to be called a bare minimum's gotta be a kick in the balls. Good thing theirs are on the inside. And that's gonna do it for this video. Drink water, hug your mother. Patreon plug, you probably heard that before. Book plug, you've definitely heard that before. Spread the Awawa
like it if
word,
you do,
and
you
see y'all
guys.
in the next one.
Yeah, thanks for watching.